What's your reaction to PG's comments?
Well, first of all, why are we talking about ratings? Why is PG even talking about ratings? You don't hear Anthony Davis talking about NBA 2K ratings. He's worried about championships. Paul George, championships. No one cares, brother. No one cares. Go out there and show the world. But look, this is the Clippers. All talk, no bite. We don't want to hear it no more. We want to see some biting. I don't want to hear all that barking. Show us why your ratings should be higher.
Yeah, this is my thing. When you have an end to the season like he did, from trash talking Damian Lillard to like 2 weeks later being trash and then blaming it on mental health issues and then coming back and having a good game and saying, I'm cured, and then having another couple bad games and getting bounced after you were up 3-1. Perk's right, man. That's when you suspend all marketing things. Like, I know I was supposed to talk to 2K. Guys, I'm not going to talk. I got to be focused right now. I guarantee you right now, Giannis is not worried about his 2K rating. He's worried about, I got bounced again after being a favorite. How can I get better so that never happens again? How can I get better so they don't game plan me the way they did again? Right now, what Paul George is doing is just ridiculous. Ridiculous. You got to have knowledge of self. And I'm not saying that you got to be in the gym 24 hours a day or anything like that, but you got to know when to lay low, as the song goes.
But my question, look, Perk, isn't your 2K rating kind of an indication of how you are viewed in the game? He said that they said that they had him as a 95 to start the season, and now he is down to an 88. So as much as this is just a rating, they are shooting a direct shot. They were like, hey, you are 7 points lower than you were to start the season last year. And he was just like, I'm on my tour. Doesn't that give some indication, Perk?
No, first of all, Ronnie 2K is the one that does the ratings. Did you watch Ronnie 2K play last year in the celebrity game and the All-Star weekend? How can he have the audacity to give anyone a rating the way that he looks on the basketball court? That's the first thing. Second of all, who cares? Who cares about a rating? You know what you are as a person. Yes, it should be disrespectful, but win in silence. You don't have to let the world know. All you have to do is sit back and say, okay, I'll show you. Like Amin just said, Giannis not worrying about his rating. Giannis probably sitting back saying, all right, I'm going to be better next year. That's all I'm saying. And by the way, it's Ronnie 2K. Did you watch Ronnie 2K play basketball?
I got a question.
What's
I got
your
a question, by the way. Is he doing that in his closet, or is that his living room that has all the shoes out there? Either way, the smell can't be that good.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get his location. I apologize. But look, there are some other ratings that we want to get to. Voice of God.
Kawhi and Paul George. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you can just have Kawhi without Paul George because now you're missing other pieces. When you combine Paul George with Kawhi Leonard, Stephen A., what you have is two-way wings in their primes who play at MVP level. Paul George was an MVP caliber player last year till he got hurt. Kawhi was the finals MVP. That has, throughout the history of the league, been the most deadly combination. Not the point guard in the center, not the stretch four in the point guard. The two-way wing combination, Jordan and Pippen, LeBron and Dwayne Wade, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
You don't think they're the same guy?
This is interesting that you bring this up. Kawhi Leonard, first of all, has become a sneaky good passer this year. He went from not such a good passer early in his career to a pretty good one last year to a really good one this year. That's one. Two, Kirk Goldsberry just had this, Stephen A. When you look at where their shots come from and where they're proficient, where they're efficient, Kawhi Leonard's really a slasher mid-range scorer. He can shoot from the outside, but what he specializes in, slasher mid-range. Paul George is a three-point shooter. You can look at where the shots are coming from, the frequency of them, the efficiency of them. That's actually more of an inside-outside combination offensively than people realize. You combine that with the fact that Kawhi Leonard actually does pass the ball very well this year, and he was improving last year, and the fact that they both play defense at an elite level, it's the best combination in the NBA.
A couple of things I think you're missing about this, and I'll preface it by saying I respect your point of view on this. We all know that the Clippers are a better team collectively. They're built better, and I don't have any problems with them being the favorite. But here's why I would say no to the answer about Paul George. Because one of the reasons I picked the Lakers is because I'm trying to figure out who's going to deal with the combination of a healthy LeBron James and an Anthony Davis. Right now, Anthony Davis has been dealing with a shoulder injury, all of that other stuff. I only pick stuff based on assuming guys are healthy, because obviously anybody that gets injured, everything gets compromised from that particular moment in time, and that's understood. But a healthy LeBron James with a healthy Anthony Davis going up against anybody is going to be too much, in my estimation, for most teams to handle. Right now, Anthony Davis is averaging 26 and 10 with 3 blocks per game. LeBron is at 24, 11 and 8. We see what Kuzma has come, trying to really ingratiate himself into things, averaging better than 12 points per game. They've got a top 5 defense. Vogel's got them playing defense. But here is the number one reason why I don't sit up there and crown Paul George and Kawhi Leonard the way others do when it comes to going up against the Lakers. I would pick Kawhi Leonard and Paul George against anybody in the NBA if they were guarding those individuals. The problem is Anthony Davis, even though Montrezl Harrell is balling. By the way, Max, look at this. This brother's averaging 20 and 7. Montrezl Harrell is a monster. I mean, this brother is special. I love Montrezl Harrell. You know, so him, I mean, he's a rough rider, and obviously he'll give Anthony Davis some problems. I get all of that. But what I'm saying is, when I think about Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and how their elevated level of greatness should really sing to us all, it's because of their ability to defend, man up, particularly on the perimeter. Well, guess what? That might be an answer for most other people. But you know that Patrick Beverley, for example, that we saw undercutting Kevin Durant and trying to body him up and be a pest? Well, that doesn't necessarily work against the 260-pound LeBron James, okay? When you look at Anthony Davis, those wide shoulders, that 6'11 frame with the versatility that he brings to the table, I'm talking about just based on size and girth, along with playoff basketball, slowing down, game planning the best 4 of 7 series. I got to see more before I'm willing to say Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are able to overcome that. If Paul George was 6'10", 6'11", and was guarding Anthony Davis, or Kawhi Leonard was guarding Anthony Davis, that would be different. But the combination of Anthony with LeBron James, because of their size and girth, is the reason that it gives me cause to pause.
Look, I'll just say this about the versatility of Kawhi and Paul George defensively. You're right, it's not exactly the matchup, but let's not forget, of course, it's always a team concept if you're going to go at a great offensive player in the NBA. But Kawhi was ISO'd defensively on the Freak last year at times in the playoffs, and the Freak couldn't do nothing with him. Right? Kawhi shut down.
That's not the same thing, Max.
Don't do that. Don't do that. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that translates to, hey, he's going to guard Anthony Davis. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying we have seen Kawhi able to do the best possible job a human being can do on a nearly 7-foot player who's playing at MVP level in Antetokounmpo.
But you're still not. But you have to tell the whole story, Max. You can't sit up there, because you know that Budenholzer had the Greek Freak literally bringing the ball up the court. You smiled when you noticed that Kawhi Leonard picked him up at half court and derailed his drives to the basket and turned him into a perimeter shooter. Well, here's the problem. Number one, Anthony Davis ain't going to do that. That would be LeBron James bringing the ball up the court. And number two, and more importantly, Anthony Davis is a better perimeter shooter, at least from last year. He is a better perimeter shooter than what the Greek Freak was last year.
No, he is.
So that's not a good comparison.
But Stephen A., he's a better shooter than the Freak was last year. He's a better shooter than the Greek Freak, period. But he's still not an excellent shooter. You know, he's always been right on the fence. Like, can AD turn into a good enough outside shooter that it's just impossible? The answer is no, not yet. He hasn't quite done that yet. If we see AD's outside shooting tick up where he's bombing from outside, you can talk to me again about who I think is going to win the championship. If AD turns into that type of player, he's the best player in basketball, and there's not a lot to talk about, really. But I haven't seen that from him. I have not. And so you're right. You're talking about Kawhi on LeBron. LeBron don't want that with Kawhi. LeBron didn't want it when Kawhi was checking into the game, when Kawhi was a puppy and LeBron was in his prime. Now it's Kawhi's league. You think LeBron wants no one would ever want Kawhi to guard them. That's crazy. Now you're talking about Paul George. Is he a great defensive player? Yes. Does that mean he stops AD? No. But it helps to have him. But AD is the kind of player, Stephen A., that traditionally in the NBA, if a guy is just wrecking you inside, you throw a bunch of guys. Not just Harrell, who can actually play, but you throw just guys who are 6 walking fouls at him. There are ways you can contend with that. And this Clippers team is an excellent defensive team. By the way, so are the Lakers good defensively. That's why they've been winning. But this Clippers team this Clippers team has a chance to be a special defensive team come playoff time when you look at the personnel.
7-3 so far this season as they head into Houston tonight.